Party. Apologies for the interruption there. Let's pick up. I want to garner your thoughts on Emmerson Mnangagwa. He's been accused of atrocities and human rights violations. Gukura Hundi comes to mind chiefly. Is he the right man for the job at this juncture in Zimbabwe, Nicholas?
It's a difficult question because Gukura Hundi happened in Matabeleland, mostly in the rural Matabeleland. The 2013 election results and the results of 2018, the majority of those people voted for ZANU-PF. And the question is, why would the people in Matabeleland vote for ZANU-PF, particularly when Emmerson Mnangagwa is the president, a man that is accused of having committed a genocide in Matabeleland and parts of Midlands? Are the people of Matabeleland now separating issues to say the question of Gukura Hundi should be dealt separately from the developmental and the broader political question? This is what we are confronted with. Because if you check, Matabeleland North, it has about 13 or so constituencies. 8 constituencies went to ZANU-PF, only 5 went to the Alliance. In Matabeleland South, it has 13 constituencies. 12 constituencies went to ZANU-PF and only 1 went to the MTC Alliance. So that's a critical question, because we cannot talk about Bulawayo, because Bulawayo is a cosmopolitan city. We have people coming from all over to stay in Bulawayo. So you cannot therefore say they did not vote for ZANU-PF in Bulawayo because of Gukura Hundi. So it's a question that we need to engage on.
Before I let you go, Nick, we just heard from Tendai Biti there, feeling that SADC and the AU is a little bit toothless at this point. Would you like to see a more robust response from big global bodies such as those, or continental bodies rather? Look,
I think for me, of course, the people of Zimbabwe have lost faith in SADC, they've lost faith in the African Union. But I think there is room for SADC to reclaim its credibility. We have seen change of leadership in the SADC countries. In Mozambique, we always see Namibia, in Botswana, and elsewhere. We have a hotspot in the DRC. Yes, there are challenges, but I think some of these challenges are ideological, because SADC is led, most of the SADC leaders are led by former liberation movements. And the new opposition parties that are emerging are neoliberal in character. You know, there's a platform which is led by the Democratic Alliance, which brings together opposition parties in the region. Democratic Alliance, they are liberals. So you then have these ideological contestations within the opposition who are not guided by the ideals of the liberation struggle, and the ruling party, the liberation movements, who still want to take forward the national democratic revolution. So this is where you have a difficulty in understanding the role of SADC. So in the case of Zimbabwe, therefore, because Zimbabweans in general have been victims of the former liberation movement, and the relationship between the ANC, PLA, Frelimo, and so forth in the region, it then appears as if SADC is protecting the former liberation movement in Zimbabwe. So as a result, that's why there is no respect.
As a parting shot, Nick, what is the way forward for Zimbabwe? Because it becomes apparent that we need a shared vision for everybody in Zimbabwe, in the country, which has become deeply, deeply polarized at this juncture.
Well, we need to accept the results. If others feel that there was rigging, they need to approach the courts to say this is the evidence, the elections were rigged, because we should not be contesting the outcome for the next 2 years. We need to set the economic agenda. How do we rebuild our economy? We have about 80% unemployment. We have close to 2.5 million Zimbabweans in South Africa, you have Zimbabweans all over the world. How do you build the economy if for the next 5 years it is going to be a political contest?
Nicolas Mabhena is the General Secretary of Zimbabwe's Communist Party. Thank you so much for your time on the SABC News Desk. All right, I believe Colin's standing by.